Hi everybody, I'm gonna be doing a collaboration in this video. So it's a Moodboard collaboration, and this is a Moodboard from Jeba, and I will put their link in the description and everybody who took part in this. So we sent each other Moodboards from surrounding areas or just pictures that we have taken, so these are all of our own pictures. And we decided to just use them for inspiration and make something. I decided to just recreate one of the photos that I found really interesting because I really want to improve painting backgrounds. So this is just the first part of the video is gonna be just a speed paint of this background specifically. It took me about 2 hours to finish it. I did half of it on live stream, that's why you won't be able to see all of my tools on the screen distracting you later on because I recorded that during the live stream that I did. The link to my Twitch is gonna be in the description as well. I really want to improve on backgrounds, like I said, and I felt like this was a good opportunity to do it. When I was talking to some professionals recently, he gave me this tip, and that's how I started off this piece, that you should zoom out as far as possible and get the biggest brush you can have and just fill in the colors that you see, and then zoom in a little bit, make the brush a little bit smaller, and keep going. So you end up kind of getting more and more detail as you go. I didn't, because this I kind of painted in a very simple style at the start, and decided to just go for some of the details. I didn't really follow that to a T, but I feel like it's a really good way of trying to not focus on the details and just paint whatever is there from the reference. So this is just a mountain with some trees and some clouds. I spent a lot of the time at the start of painting this on the clouds. We will get to them in a second, but first, I try to paint the trees and some of the backgrounds, and then I realized that it's a little bit off, so I squished the mountains down. And then I started painting the clouds. I never thought that I could be good at painting clouds, but these actually turned out really well in my opinion. So I'm really happy with this piece overall. So here I am just dabbing on some color and trying to be as loose and as painterly as I can. So I am just trying to paint in the little clouds, and it's painting clouds is, I feel, a craft in itself, because you just kind of have to get the right amount of translucency and shape, and I don't know, clouds are very specific. But yeah, I go between loads of layer modes, trying to just darken some stuff a little bit. By the way, I'm using Sketchbook Pro for this. It's a really good intuitive program. It's not like Photoshop, definitely, because it doesn't have any photo editing tools in it, but I think it's really good. So this collaboration was really fun to do, and I hope to do something like this again in the future. I was picking out all of my photos from around the area that I'm in, so you'll see that in somebody else's video who is linked below. If they show the mood boards, you'll see their work anyway. But the pictures that I had, a lot of them had my dog in it, and it's around the canal that I live, and there's just, a really nice bridge that's kind of overgrown, and some forest scenery in autumn. So if you're interested in seeing how that inspired somebody to make a piece, then, go for it and check out their channel. I'm sure you noticed that I've been going back and forth on the trees throughout this entire painting, and I was still not happy with them in the end, but I just decided that they are good enough, and I decided to move on because I spent so long on them. There's something about treetops in a big bunch that is really difficult to capture for me, and they kept looking a little straggly and like they're just sticks and not leaves. But yeah, so I decided to include the sheep that were in the original photo, but I didn't follow how they were spaced out or anything. I just took some inspiration for their poses, but I didn't include them like exactly how they were in the original piece. So they're just little sheep blobs, just, you know, hanging around on the field. I made them really pure white, and then I turned down the opacity a little bit just because they were definitely sticking out a little bit too much. So I'm back to painting the mountain. The mountain was a little bit of a challenge to do because it had so many different colors in it. You can see a little bit of snow on the very top, and then the rest was like brown and grown, and like you could see little bushes and different types of rocks covering them, and yeah, it was really hard to capture that kind of feeling without like going into little details. So I tried to pick planes that I could see on the mountains and paint them different colors that I could see there. I don't know how well that translated, but I really like the way it turned out in the end. So I've been using this gray, very gray green throughout a lot of it, and I even turned down the saturation of it several times because I keep going too much like green, and because it's so far away in the background, there is very little saturation to any of those colors. So it's very brown and it's very tan kind of color, and there's just no saturation. And here I am going over the trees once again because I just can't stop myself. Trees are so difficult to paint. I was doing this on a live stream, and yeah, I just kept saying that how difficult they are, because, you know, trees are hard. I don't know. And now we have the most important part of this collaboration. Although I only spent about 15 minutes of it because this was at the very end of my live stream. Jebe has these amazing chickens. I absolutely adore them. They look like they're really fluffy, and the feathers look like hair and fur rather than feathers. So I just had to paint them. When I saw those pictures, I really wanted to collaborate to include them in the painting that I did earlier, and I want to swap the sheep out with these, but because I didn't put much detail into them, I didn't feel like it would put anything into the landscape. So instead I did this. Here I am breaking down shapes of them that one of my friends asked me in the live stream how I can draw them so quickly and how I pick how they look. I'm just using this big fat square brush to paint them in, and it changes how big it is with how much pressure I add. So I love this brush and I use it for rough work all the time. The chickens were so fun to paint. I kind of regret not spending more time on them because this entire last part took me about 10-15 minutes to do in real life. Unfortunately, it was getting late at that point, so I decided that was definitely enough for this video. Here comes the final boy, so I'm just gonna tell you to subscribe to whoever else took part in this challenge. It was a lot of fun, and I would love to do something like this again. So yeah, bye!